Welcome back to Everything Goes, the best sports podcast out there.
Did you miss us?
Yeah, we've been away for a while, but first, let that beat hit you, and we'll continue this in a second.
Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
So what was it? Week 5 just happened?
Yeah, but before we start, we got to apologize to Tony. Tony, we're sorry. That interview you gave us live from Lambeau Field wearing your Eagles gear, we kind of lost it.
Yeah.
We had a great interview with Tony. Tony was actually out there at Lambeau Field when the Eagles played the Packers, and he was telling us about everything that was going on and how he was down there filming. I guess it was the Eagles coming out of the tunnel, and security chased him back to his seat because he had the wrong jersey on. He wasn't in Packers gear.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Well, it's kind of good though because those horrible Eagle fans down there in Philly and filthy.
I tried to recover it, man. I don't really know what happened. My computer was off for a while because we did that interview with him, and then we didn't hop back onto the computers for a while after that, and it just it was gone when my computer went on.
Gone.
So.
But it was a good interview, and it was pretty cool to get his perspective of how it was in Lambeau Field. Man, it's just amazing, and he's lucky to get that opportunity to go there.
One thing that we did miss that I would like to talk about real quick is if you guys missed it, the Dallas Cowboys, they lost the Saints in Superdome. That's all I want to say. That's all I want to say.
Big deal. I mean, we'll discuss that later because I'm not worried about Dallas losing that. We're tied for first place, but we'll talk about it because if they didn't have those turnovers, we would have beaten the Saints and we would have beaten the Packers.
Stuff happens, Dad. Stuff happens.
Absolutely, and you can gloat and you can sit over and cheer.
It's not like it was a good game. It was just like last year. It was a hard fought defensive game.
We'll talk about all this then because we're going to talk about because I know you think that the Saints are the best team in the NFC now, and
they are.
They're not.
They beat Dallas. They beat the Seahawks. In Seattle.
We'll talk about that.
I guess we'll talk about it. What do you? Go ahead. Start us off if we're not talking about that.
Well, let's talk about what happened today in the NFL. The Redskins, after their loss yesterday, they called Jay Gruden, and they wanted him to come into the office today at 5 a.m.
We all saw it coming.
They could fire him. And you know what? I think it's good for him. I really do because he is a good coach. And what's going on there? It's the ownership and it's the GM. They're not letting this guy do anything, and he is a good coach.
He's 35-49 and has one playoff appearance since a loss.
Yeah, but that's not him. Everyone forgets that Alex Smith is still the quarterback of that team. It's like he fell off the planet. This ownership wanted Haskins because they have family ties to Haskins. Jay Gruden didn't want Haskins. And there's been tension there because they want him to play Haskins and he doesn't want to play Haskins, and they're not letting him do anything he wants. But
that team has done nothing though within the past couple of years. Where have they gone?
That team has been trashed because ever since Snyder took over as the owner, they have done nothing but destroy a great franchise. They have problems with their staff. They have problems with their all their doctors and coaches with these players that are getting hurt and they're saying they're fine. They go out and play to get hurt again. There's a lot of things why do you think that offensive lineman doesn't want to be there? Because of all the crap that's going on in that organization. And
I wish them the best. I'm not a Redskins fan, so it really doesn't bother me. This team hasn't been great. Last year they started off good. They were in first place for a while there. Excuse me. And then Alex Smith goes down, and it went downhill from there. But the first 2 weeks, the Redskins looked. They showed signs that they could be a decent team. And then every week they lost, and then they play the Bears, and they just got demolished. And then you throw Haskins into a game that you're already losing, and he throws 3 picks, and you make him look like a fool in front of the team that skipped over him. And then you start Colt McCoy. Well, what's funny is you start Haskins, and then you start Colt McCoy the week after against the Patriots, and then they lose again. So, this franchise has been spiraling down for a while now. I don't know where it's going from here because it's not like they're rebuilding. It's not like they're trading people. They're actually giving people huge contracts.
And it's because of what's going on in that organization with the owner. The owner is the fault of all this. If Yeah, sure. Jay Gruden is 35-49-1 in 6 seasons, but you can't put all that stuff that's going on with that organization just on him.
I
You really
think
can't.
they came out and said that you can't blame it all on him, but I think they said something like, "This is good for our future. Like we're excited for our future," or something like that.
Well, let's face it. They play Miami next week. They might get their first win, but if they're truly tanking and they're battling for that,
There's a lot of teams that are 0-4, 0-5.
yeah. But a lot of them are going to end up playing each other, so someone's going to get a win unless they end up tying 0-0.
You never know, man.
But the Redskins played the Patriots and they lost 33-7. In that game, Tom Brady threw for 348 yards passing. He now has 71,923 career passing yards, and it puts him past Brett Favre, third place on all-time list. So, can we say now that he is the GOAT of the NFL?
I'm sorry, who did you say that was?
Tom Brady.
I mean, I've been saying
He's going to be an instant Hall of Famer.
I've been saying for years now. I mean, I love my Drew Brees. Don't get me wrong.
He's
But Tom
going
Brady.
He's going to Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I mean, he's broken so many records. But Tom Brady, I mean, you gotta give it to him. Out of Michigan,
He's just
6
He's
rings.
done stuff that no one's ever done.
No, I mean, and Tom Brady, he's not like throwing crazy stats out there as much as he used to. But he wins.
And the thing
He
is,
wins every week, and they're still undefeated. He's got 6 rings. I mean, what other quarterback in the league has 6 rings?
And the thing is he's been to 8 Super Bowls, and they do this every year with has-beens. You know what I mean? They don't go out and get all these players they get these guys off the off the list.
It's almost like
garbage
it's
from
almost
other
like
teams.
it's almost like waiver wire.
Disgruntled players that nobody else wants, that they come back and they refire and rekindle their careers, and they end up having great careers.
I mean, take it like this: Julian Edelman was a quarterback at Kent State, turned him into a receiver. You got Josh Gordon coming off so many suspensions in the NFL. I mean, every year. I mean, we can keep going. I mean, he just takes people. I mean, Chris Hogan. Nobody knew who Chris Hogan was.
yeah,
You know, Edelman goes down, Chris Hogan becomes a guy. It's like it's literally they live by that model. It's the next guy up, and they'll make him good.
I'll tell you what, though, the team that you got to watch, though, and that played them really tough and only has 1 loss, and it's to them, is the Buffalo Bills.
Dude,
I mean,
yeah.
they don't have much of an offense, but they have the second best defense in the NFL right now.
They have a
and
young, good defense.
They're going to be a team to reckon with.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, he's not bad. He's still young, but I think the Bills are still a good contender this year. I mean, they're still 4-1.
Well, let's go around the NFL for a little bit. First of all, let's look at the top 5 receivers of the NFL. I mean, it was a great day for receivers. Amari Cooper, he was the tops with 11 receptions for 226 yards, 1 touchdown. Will Fuller just blew up, and I had him on my fantasy bench. 14 receptions, 217 yards, and 3 TDs. Michael Thomas, he's just a beast when it comes to receptions. 11 receptions, 182, and 2 touchdowns. And then DJ Chark of Jacksonville, 8 receptions, 164, and
Had
2
him on my
touchdowns.
bench. Well, what's funny is, Michael Thomas wasn't really getting a lot of numbers because, Teddy was easing back into the offense. But now you're starting to see him throw again. And I like that the first thing they tweeted out is all those people that said that Michael Thomas would be nothing without Drew Brees right there.
Yeah,
And that's straight to you, too.
About who?
Michael Thomas?
I never said Michael Thomas.
You said I wish
here
we
we
could.
go.
I wish we could play it back.
Here we go. No.
You said Michael Thomas would be nothing without Drew Brees, and then I said to you, "Well,
No.
look at Hopkins, how he never had quarterbacks."
First of all, you know what? I want everyone to go back and listen to that podcast because you said he was the best receiver in the NFL and that no one's ever done what he's done, and I proved you wrong with the stats.
I said no one's done what he's done in his first 3 years.
And you're wrong. Anyway, let's go to top passer ratings. Deshaun Watson, again, the guy that scrambles for his life. 426 yards, 5
he's
touchdowns.
running for MVP right now.
158 passer rating. That's like perfect. Russell Wilson, man, this guy is just, I don't know, man. He has nothing, and he's just a beast as a quarterback.
It's amazing watching him, and the fact that he almost never gets
Dude,
sacked.
he's Houdini back there, and he's more dangerous when he runs with the ball. I mean, he's like a conductor of an orchestra. The guy is just amazing how he runs that program.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so tiny. He slips out of it. It's funny when we were watching those games. It's like he doesn't go down.
He only had 268 yards passing, but he had 4 touchdowns and a 152 passer rating. And this guy here, I picked this team to win this division. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, man, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 139 passer rating. It's like 1 week they're on, 1 week they're off. 1 week they're on,
There's
1
a,
week they're off.
there's a lot of drama going on in Minnesota right now.
Yeah, and the thing is Thielen came out and said stuff. Diggs basically wants to trade, but he said he doesn't want to trade.
But then, did you see that interview where he said, of course I want to be a Viking, then he winks at the camera?
My thing is they have the weapons there. Just let it go. Let it gel. I mean, they're going to be fine. I mean, I still think their defense is one of the best in the league. And I just Minnesota's a tough place to play. Just give them time. I think they'll be fine.
I said this about...
They're saying Diggs, too, could be another option for New England, which would be crazy.
That'd be crazy.
I guess New England offered a second-round pick for Diggs. It's crazy.
Well, I said this probably 2 podcasts ago that, you have 2 great receivers. You have a good quarterback when he plays well. And you have a great running back right now who's healthy. And you still have a good, solid defense. If one thing's going wrong, early in the season, why almost give... I mean, I heard that, Kirk Cousins had this, little podcast thing where, he said how Adam Thielen's the best wide receiver in the league. And I'm guessing Diggs didn't take that well. But the fact is, that's a great team.
But what does that sound like? That sounds like the drama that happened in Pittsburgh with Juju Smith and all that stuff. And Antonio Brown got salty because the team didn't name him the team MVP.
And let's be real. I mean, Thielen's produced more than Diggs lately.
I just think together, these guys...
Together it opens up more.
Yes. I mean, they're weapons. And Diggs has to realize that, he is a good receiver. He's going to get the double teams. He's not going to get the receptions. And that's what he's getting. That's why Thielen's getting so many receptions. It is what it is. But you know what? Thielen is more of a slot receiver too, and that opened. Look at Cooper Kupp, what he's doing. He was injured last year. He comes back, and he's probably the best receiver right now on that team because the outside receivers are getting taken away. So he's open in the middle. But rounding out the top 5, Teddy Bridgewater, he had a good game, 314 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 131 passer rating.
Not even as a Saints fan, you got to give it up to Teddy. This guy almost lost his leg. He could have quit football.
Yeah.
And then he goes from being a backup to getting a chance to fill in for Breeze. He's doing a great job. I mean, he's besides last week that he put up good numbers. I mean, he's not putting up great numbers, not by a long shot, but they're getting wins.
But I told you this even when Drew Brees went down. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, our season's over." You look at that division that they're in. You look at the weapons that they have. Their defense now all of a sudden is like playing lights out. Easily one of the best run defenses in the league. The cornerbacks. All of a sudden,
Marshawn Lattimore just kicked it in.
Absolutely. And before they played the Cowboys, Lattimore had easily gave up the most passing yards to receivers. And
it's a
all of a sudden,
fact.
He turned it on, and now they're playing tough.
How many catches Mike Evans had yesterday?
No.
0.
Yeah.
And you know who no one's talking about? Eli Apple. This is a contract year for him because the Saints didn't pick up his contract. He hasn't allowed 1 touchdown this year.
And that's good. Eli Apple is a good cornerback. He gets picked on a lot.
He's quiet too this year, but no, I'm giving it up to them, man. Obviously, I didn't think our season was done, but there goes a lot into running an offense like that. And you can't even say that's a bad division right now because let's be real. Who are they? The Bucks. The Bucks. It's 1 week they're beating the best teams, and the next week they just don't show up. They
went out to LA and they put up 55 points against the Rams, which we'll talk about the Rams then too because I had a whole discussion with this on the way home about the NFC in general, and we'll get into it.
And then you have Kyle Allen for the Panthers, who they keep winning.
Yeah. This year in football, it's just been crazy because
Atlanta sucks. Let's just be real.
Yeah,
Atlanta sucks.
And Atlanta was picked to win that division, and they have so many problems.
And we talked about it in the car the other day. On paper, they have an amazing team.
And I think Quinn is the next one. He's on the hit list, the hot seat.
How are you not winning with that talent?
Yeah,
you have Matt Ryan, you have Julio Jones, you have Ridley, you have Devontae Freeman in the backfield, and you have a good young defense.
But the problem is that it's the same situation. They're spending all this money on quarterbacks, on receivers, and everything else. Their offensive line is garbage. They can't even produce a running game. I know that firsthand because I have Freeman as my running back in fantasy. Yeah. They can't protect Matt Ryan. He cannot get comfortable back there. He doesn't have a clean pocket. He's always running for his life and trying to get rid of the ball. And that's the problem. If you don't spend the money on your linemen, you're going to fall apart. And Quinn, if he makes it to the season, he'll be lucky. He really will be.
Yeah, really hasn't done much over the past couple of years. You make it to a Super Bowl and you blow the lead. Next 2 years after that, nothing really happened.
But the shocker yesterday was, you know what? This is another team that just really, really has me confused because one week they're good and next week they lose to somebody, and why? The Colts. The Colts. They went into Kansas City yesterday and they beat a really good Chiefs team. And
you know why I'm shocked they won is they have so many injuries right now, a lot.
I mean, they held Mahomes
Chiefs,
to his lowest point total ever.
They only had 14 points
in his career,
or something like that. 10 points.
He was sacked 4 times in the first half, and he was clearly limping during the game.
So I don't know if you saw that touchdown he threw. He ran probably 15 yards backwards, did a little loop-de-loop, then he chucked the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. It was insane.
And Justin Houston went back to there. He's with the Colts now, and he had a great game. He came in there and he just the Colts defense is underrated. I think they're one of the top tier defenses in the AFC.
And that division's wide open for the taking. I mean, I think they're not technically tied for first place. I think they lost to the Texans or something like that. Or maybe they're tied for first. I'm not sure. I know that them and the Texans are both 3-2. It
was the Chiefs' worst back-to-back weeks for Mahomes in his career against the Lions and then against the Colts. Lowest points scored in his early career. The Colts' defense is really, really good. And you know what? They went to old smash-mouth football. They ran the ball a lot. Marlon Mack ran for 132 yards.
He had a good game running, too.
They held the time of possession, and they just really dominated, and they really punched the Chiefs right in the mouth and in front of their crowd, which is hard to do because it's tough playing there.
And how important is that, being on the road in one of the loudest stadiums in the league, to put on a 10-minute drive and just waste that clock, and then you get points on top of that, and then the Chiefs go out there, they're only out there for a minute, and then you just eat clock again, and you keep eating it. And if you're able to put points on top of that, because some teams can only run the clock out and maybe get a field goal. If you're getting points on top of that, I mean, you're doing your job.
And then we have the Panthers. They won again. They beat the Jaguars 34-27, and Kyle Allen is off to a great start, 3-0 since taking over for Cam Newton. They're gonna have decisions to make when Cam does get healthy. This kid is playing really well. He has no interceptions. I think he has 9 touchdowns in 3 games.
As much as, and this is weird to say this because I'm a Saints fan, I personally really like Cam Newton. I would see what you could get out of him for a trade. I mean, you Kyle Allen and you drafted Will Grier.
I don't know if you'll get much for him though because he's injury prone.
I mean, you think about the teams that need a quarterback.
He's got a shoulder, he's got a foot, he's got a knee, he's got all these problems going on.
You think of the teams that could really use a quarterback right now.
But Gardner Minshew too. He's showing the Jaguar fans he's the real deal as well. And they spent all that money
on Nick Foles,
who's out probably for the season.
Jacksonville's only 1 game out of first place. Let's be real. Yeah. That team looks good right now. He's taking control of that team.
They really do. But I tell you what, the drama still around Jalen Ramsey is just lingering.
He's finding loopholes to not even
Jalen
be
Ramsey,
a part of the team.
Yeah, he was too injured to travel to Carolina, but he showed up in photos with Deshaun Watson after Watson's game in Houston. They have people saying it's a fake photo, but the clothes that Watson had on were the same clothes that he wore in his press conference after the game. And in the photo in the background, the Cowboys are playing the Packers on the TV screen. So Jalen, I don't know what his deal is, but
he wants out, man.
He does want out, but the ownership said they don't care if they get 5 first-round picks, they're not giving them away.
And you have to think, I know, if you're not happy, you're happy, but you have a good young offense and a quarterback that could possibly lead you to the playoffs. And you have a solid defense. Why would you not want to be a part of that?
Yeah.
And you're in Florida where it's usually warm, so that's a plus too. You don't got to play many cold games. I really don't want him to go to the Eagles.
And the Saints, they beat up on the Buccaneers. We talked about that a little bit, 31-24. I mean, that was a good game. It wasn't bad, but
it was good defense at first, and then we opened it up. That's another quarterback, though. If you watch how many times he was running for his life, there's a lot of offensive linesmen that are struggling.
It's Teddy Bridgewater's second 4-touchdown performance in his career, and the last one was 1,387 days ago.
You think about it, he's only been in the league for 4 years. I thought he was in the league for a lot longer. He's only 26. And what's crazy is, if you're the Saints, right, do you trade Teddy Bridgewater after this year?
No, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
it depends what you're going to get for him, because you know what? You don't know how long Drew's going to stick around. I mean, Drew looks great.
I mean, I don't remember if we signed a 1-year deal or a 3-year deal. But I don't think Drew's retiring anytime soon. So if you're Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, you're showing right now that you can play for a team. I mean, he's 3-0 in the start right now. And it's like, do you really, like, as much and cool as it is to sit behind Drew Brees and learn behind a Hall of Fame, do you really want to sit 3 more years when you're starting? Like, he looked good with the Jets in the preseason. Now he's 3-0 with the Saints. He's proven that he can go play for another team.
Yeah, and our next one we're going to talk about, and this is my perfect example why I can honestly say that there's no dominant team in the NFC. The Eagles beat the Jets, and the score looks twisted, 31-6. But the offense for the Eagles barely showed up. I mean, the defense dominated that. And they won by 25 points. But if you look at the bottom line, and I know Eagles fans are like, oh, God, and this is what really ticks me off about the Eagles fans.
It's the Jets.
This is what ticks me off about the Eagles fans. It's like they have the stepbrother syndrome for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? No matter what happens to the Eagles, they always have to go and see what the Cowboys did or what's going on with the Cowboys, and they got to put their little post on Facebook. It's aggravating. They're like the little stepbrother. But when they're losing, they want to fire everybody. They know this coach sucks. This guy's that. This guy's this. But Carson Wentz, I mean, he went 17-29 for 189 yards. I mean, they only had like 80-some yards freaking rushing. They only had barely 270-some yards total offense.
I mean, the Jets do have a good defense, but on that they're an 0-4 team. You got to put it to them.
But they have to have concerns. They really do. They have to have concerns for their offense. And they have a huge game coming up in 2 weeks against the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be
it's in Dallas too.
And I'm not being the Cowboy homer. I'm really not. But if you look, and seriously, if you look with an open lens and you look at Dallas, if Dallas doesn't have those turnovers against the Saints in the Saints territory, it could be a totally different game. Because Dallas, it was a great defensive game, don't get me wrong. But Dallas did move the ball fairly easy. And then you go to the
I wouldn't say easily.
You go to the Packers game, though. We had 560 yards passing. And that first interception was tipped off Amari Cooper's hands, who clearly, if he catches it, runs for a touchdown.
You know what they should change about stats is if a receiver, like, perfect ball thrown into his hands, if he drops the ball and it goes into another guy's hands, that shouldn't count for the quarterback. There should be like interception on the receiver because like that pass for instance actually happened with the Saints too. Teddy threw a ball to Kamara perfectly in his hands and just somehow slips out of his hands and goes into the defender behind him. Like that sucks for the quarterback because you made a perfect throw, but then the running back, the receiver, whoever it is, like they blew their chance, and that's not even on the quarterback.
But like I was saying, Dallas's offense is ranked number 3 in the league right now.
Oh, I still think Dallas is a good team.
You know what? And they're not that conservative. Let's run the ball. But they're really moving the ball. And once they get past, I mean, they have 5 turnovers in the last 2 games that absolutely killed them. You think about it. The Packers scored 14 points off 2 of the interceptions right away. You take those 14 points away. I mean, I know it's all like what he said, these said, all this crap. But if you take those points away, Dallas wins that game because
but you also got to give it up to Packers defense for stopping those plays. You know what I mean, though.
But they didn't really stop.
I mean that one was was Cooper's fault. No doubt. But like you got to think of those other ones.
But you think about it. The one they threw in the end zone, that was a bad throw.
Packers is top 10 defense.
But look at the last one. They called pass interference on Anthony Brown for not turning around, barely making contact. The ball hit him in the back. They threw a flag for pass interference. The last interception that Dak threw, Michael Gallup had the back of his helmet ripped basically off.
Yeah.
He was getting molested up and down the field, and they had no challenges left to challenge it because they had to challenge a completion from Amari Cooper.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true. You can challenge it.
But my thing is Aaron Rodgers, I mean, the running game killed us. And that's Dallas' biggest problem right now.
He went off.
We have holes at the defensive tackle, and our linebackers aren't playing like we did last year. But Aaron Rodgers, 11 of his completions were to the running backs. He only had 4 completions.
That's the type of game it is, though, nowadays.
He only had 4 completions to receivers. That was it, because Devontae Adams didn't play. Mm-hmm. But Dallas, they still had a chance to win that game. It's just, what? It's frustrating because 5 turnovers. You're never going to win a game if you're -3 in the turnovers. You're never going to win a game like that.
I think what's tough too, even just as a fan watching games anymore, is you have 70% chance of there being a flag almost on every play now. I mean, how many flags did we see yesterday on that one drive just in general? I mean, you have 2 refs behind the offensive line now. You see holding calls more than ever now. you're seeing so many. I can't even talk about freaking
The
roughing the passer.
holding penalties are ridiculous. It really is. But you know what? The thing that really, you know what? The first thing they said today is you got to fire Jason Garrett. You got, and I don't want to defend the guy. I mean, I think he annoys the hell out of me sometimes. But you know what? That team never quits. We were losing 31-3 in the third quarter.
I mean, another thing too is,
And that
Jason
team
Garrett can't
never quit. He doesn't throw the ball.
He can't control those 4 turnovers.
No, he doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't miss the field goals. But that team, they love and they defend Jason Garrett. And they came back and they could have won that game very easily. They shut the Packers down in the second half. Almost all their points, except for 3, became in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Aaron Jones. He got shut down that last couple drives.
But the defense, you know, it's got to come together. The thing, I'm glad that we did have a 2-game lead, and I'm glad that, you know, we're still tied. We're tied for first place, and we're undefeated in our division.
Like I said yesterday, you go and play the Jets next week, which you should win.
We got the Jets,
and then you go and play the Eagles.
We got the Eagles in Dallas, and then we go back to New York and play the Giants again.
And then it's like, okay, who do the Eagles play this week?
But the problem with Dallas is their last 7 of their 16 games, they have the toughest schedule in the NFL. They got to play teams like New England. They got to play the Bills. They got to play the Rams. They got to play Minnesota.
Oh, man.
They got to play the Bears in Chicago.
This is what's nice for you is that the Giants play New England next week, and the Eagles play Minnesota at Minnesota. Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys play the Jets, that puts you 1 game in. Say you win and the Eagles lose. That puts you 1 game in first place, and then you play the Eagles and you beat them.
And the Eagles still have a tough schedule. I think they still have to play New England yet. So the division, and I said this from the start of the season, this division is going to come down to 2 teams, the Eagles, and it's going to come down to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I really would not count the Giants out. I mean, they played well against Minnesota. I mean, Daniel Jones missed some passes.
Daniel Jones looked horrible. He really did. He looked horrible on Sunday.
He's still a young quarterback.
It was against New England. They played
Minnesota.
Yeah, they played New England this weekend. But, you know, you are what you are. You really
I see your right tackle is a sprained MCL. But he's not rolled out for week 6 yet.
Yeah, and that's another problem too. You know, we're missing Tyrod Smith on one side and Leo Collins on the other side, and you know they brought in Redmond, who's never played in the NFL before, and they put him in. And he played great, but Cam Fleming, man, he just looked like trash over there, man. First of all, the Smith boys that are on Green Bay, they're tough. They really are.
They're two big boys.
And they didn't double team enough, and you know it is what it is. The thing is the thing I'm happy about is the team staying united. You know, the guys that are taking the blame for what they did. Everyone's saying Dak's garbage. Dak ain't garbage. I'm sorry, he made some good throws yesterday, especially that one he dropped in the Zeke after that penalty.
He was firing the ball yesterday too.
He's throwing the ball down the field. Gallup's dropping a lot of balls. I think they're gonna be fine. They have to stop with the dumb turnovers. And you know what, another thing that's killing them is the third down conversions again. They start out so good. You got to get yourself into 3rd and shorts, and you got to get a kicker that can make. Oh,
what sucks is he made the kick, and then there's a false start in the offense, then he misses the kick.
I mean, he's only missed 3 kicks all year, but he hasn't had many kicks other than extra points. So they got to clean it up. But like I said, I'm not worried. I know Eagles fans are in their glory. We're tied for first place. Whoopee. It's going to come down, and that game in 2 weeks, I'm telling you right now, man, that game is going to be a do or die. That's going to be like a playoff game. You cannot lose to the Philadelphia Eagles.
You have to split with Philly.
I'm going to be at that one.
I know. I wouldn't want to.
And I'm not wearing anything that represents Dallas at all, but I'm going to be cheering like a son of a gun on the inside.
I would not want to be going to that game at all, man. You know how Eagles fans are.
Well, that takes us to our next game, the Texans and the Falcons.
Started off good.
The Falcons had a lead at halftime.
I have nothing to say to the Falcons. Really, I don't.
Yeah,
Matt Ryan puts up over 300 passing yards a game. They just don't win. They don't score.
Houston fumbled the ball 5 times in this game. 5 times. And the Falcons defense.
The Falcons defense is literally the same defense that got them Super Bowl, and I don't know why the chemistry is not there right now. But they're 1-4, man. You could basically say they're done in this. They're done in this division.
I don't know. And then we already talked a little bit about the Bills. The Titans are another team. They just totally. I have no idea with them. They come out and they put 40-some points up the first game of the year.
What's tough is I like Mariota, and it's just like he doesn't have that fire in. Like they're not. I mean, he's got 1,000 yards passing, but like they're not a fire offense. Like there's nothing really going.
No, I mean Cole Beasley, I think, is their leading receiver for the season.
No, Cole Beasley's on the Bills.
That's what we're talking about, Bills and Titans.
I'm talking about the Titans.
Oh, okay.
But like, I mean, Derrick Henry's doing all right. He's got 388 rushing yards. He's got 4 touchdowns. So I mean, he's got 2 fumbles though. But
it's funny. It shows you how much I'm paying attention to you while I'm reading.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
No, I just
I mean, really, what it is. I mean, who do they have at receiver? I mean, you have A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Adam Humphries. I mean, you're not looking at, like, elite wide receivers, really.
No, there's nothing there.
I mean, when you throw to Delaney Walker more than most of your receivers, like,
and you know what
you got a problem there.
Mariota's going to be the guy that goes, I think they're going to go another direction.
I really don't think that they're going to get rid of Mariota. I think they're going to give him the extension just because, I mean, he is a good quarterback.
Mariota's going to be a backup in the league next year, mark my words.
No, I think he'll start somewhere. I'll happily take Mariota. I like him.
But the Bills are in the same situation. I mean, they're 4-1. Josh Allen
looks pretty good.
He's got a strong arm, but he's another one. There's no offensive line. I mean, they don't really have much of a running game. They're more of a screen throwing team, and they really don't have any receivers either. They have Cole Beasley, and like I was saying, he's probably leading the team in receptions right now. But he only had 3 receptions on Sunday.
I mean, now you go to the 49ers playing the Browns tonight. I'm excited for that game.
It's 2 good defenses. Really is. And I need Nick Chubb to get buried tonight because I'm beating Noah in fantasy by, I think, 39 points.
It's crazy how they're 4-0, and Garoppolo, man, 739 passing yards and 4 interceptions.
I think this is going to be the first true test for the 49ers.
I do, too. I think Cleveland can beat them, but I think the 49ers have just a better team.
They do. I mean, both teams, they have a good defense. Offensively, I think the Browns have more weapons. But
I said this from the beginning, too. I said Nick Chubb deserves to start over Kareem Hunt. If Hunt comes back and starts, I mean, Nick Chubb is a good running back. I think he was drafted in the 3rd or 2nd round, and everyone kind of like underestimated
Nick Chubb's going to be the running back for running downs, and Kareem Hunt's going to be that passing. Like, he's going to be like a Duke Johnson kind of a deal. That's what he did in Kansas City. He was a passing guy.
I'm just happy I traded Odell Beckham in our fantasy league.
Yeah.
He's done nothing. I mean, he's got 1 touchdown, 308 passing yards.
Yeah, we got to talk about the Ravens and the Steelers game. That game was crazy. The Steelers ended up losing that game 26-23, but the hit.
Have you even watched it?
Yeah, I seen it. I mean,
it's like he leaves his body. Like he's cold out.
He got sandwiched, and he made a great throw. He made a great throw.
He took that hit on his chin, and that's where people, when they fight, they aim for your chin, because if you get hit in the chin, you don't have a tough chin. I mean, look what happened. He was out.
Oh, he was definitely.
He wasn't
out.
moving.
His linemen were so scared because they probably thought he was dead, because they were. But you know what the funniest thing is they couldn't even cart him off the field.
It broke, and the NFLPA is mad about that.
And then they had a backup cart that they wouldn't let him use.
They made this guy get carried off the field.
Yeah, they made a guy who was literally knocked unconscious.
At first, they tried allowing him to walk, and then he couldn't.
Yeah.
And they had the 2 offensive linemen help carry him off the field.
And you know what's weird is they took the face mask off so you can see his face, and he looked like he was out drinking all night. He was messed up.
They always take that off, and then they usually strap you in. So first of all, he looks like he just got out of the hospital the way he was walking with this helmet on. The face mask is off. Mason Rudolph isn't doing that bad.
Yeah, and what's going on with Lamar Jackson? Rapidly deteriorating.
I don't think so. I think
5 interceptions over the last 2 games.
I don't know. I still think they're still a good team. I really do.
It's just like
he's still got 1,271 passing yards.
They could say the same thing about.
He's got 11 touchdowns. Yeah. 11 touchdowns.
Yeah, the 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, still, it's not bad. Mark Ingram, the fact that Mark Ingram's finally getting like the lead role. He's having a good year. 6 touchdowns this year, 372 rushing yards. I mean, you think he always split time. I mean, he was a Heisman. He was always splitting time with Kamara, Pierre Thomas, whoever it was. And now you give him the reins, man, and he is just going.
Then we got to talk about the Vikings and the Giants. That was a 28-10 victory for the Vikings. if we're not talking about Christian McCaffrey as being one of the MVPs in the league, Dalvin Cook, man, he's just off to an amazing start. He really is. He had 218 yards from scrimmage on Sunday, and he's up to 742 for the season.
Listen,
he's good. He's great, man.
Cook is good, but McCaffrey, man,
McCaffrey's on another
just
level,
a
but
different kid. And what's crazy is the fact that he's a white running back,
yeah,
and he is fast.
but he's a beast.
He's
man.
going off.
He's just
And he takes it. Like, he will take a hit. He's not running out of bounds. I mean, he tried to hurdle that guy, and he flipped. He went right in that end zone.
he only has one bad week this week, and that was week 2.
Who?
McCaffrey. He has 866 yards from scrimmage in 5 weeks. First week he had 128 yards rushing, 81 receiving.
I think you said he has 800, and Cook has 500.
Cook has 724 total scrimmage yards. Total scrimmage yard, not rushing, just total scrimmage.
Okay, gotcha.
He's got 866. Week 2, he only had 37 yards rushing, 16 receiving. I don't know who they played in week 2. Week 3, 153 yards rushing, 35 receiving. Week 4, 93 rushing, 86 receiving. And week 5, 176 yards rushing, 61 yards receiving. He's a beast. He really is.
We watched him when they played Michigan, and he's just dominated. There's Florida State.
They're saying, no, I'm talking about Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, okay, I got you. We're off today. We're off.
No, all right. Anyway, both of them. Dalvin Cook is amazing.
I think Christian McCaffrey has a serious chance at MVP this year.
They're saying he could eclipse 3,000 yards total for the season. Crazy. That's like, rushing, receiving.
That's like the stats that me and Noah are putting up in franchise on Madden right now.
Yeah. Now,
Just stuff you don't see.
Dalvin Cook, I drafted him in fantasy last year. The kid is just so good. I saw what he did against Michigan, when he was with Florida State. The guy has great vision. He's a great running back, and it's showing now more than ever. And this is what's going to help Kirk Cousins, especially when it comes to the playoffs.
When you have a good running back.
If you can have a good running back that can make them load up the box, it's going to make him have throws better down the field.
What's crazy is
it's going to open up the field.
He's coming off leg injuries too. It's not like he was dealing with arm injuries, and the fact that he's running with so much confidence. And sometimes you see people like they're not right for a couple of years. And he's running with straight confidence. I mean, he's killing it.
Then we had the battle of the suck. The Cardinals beat the Bengals 26-23.
What's crazy is at 1 o'clock, you know how like typically when the game starts, whether it's baseball, football, typically not everyone's in their seats yet. There's a photo of at 1 o'clock when they were about to kick off. It looked like a high school game. Like there was no one there. And like eventually they had everyone, like they pushed everyone down to make it look a little full, but there was nobody there. I mean, think about it. Both teams didn't have a win.
Yeah.
Who's going to that game? It was a rainy day. There was nobody there.
And Kyler Murray didn't even throw for a touchdown. He rushed for 93 yards and a touchdown, but
a lot of people don't like the fact that they drafted Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray,
he's good.
They're going to be, you got to give them time. The thing that's killing me is Cincinnati Bengals, I don't know what they're waiting for. Like, just rebuild already. Like, it's like every year they're hoping that Andy Dalton will take them to the promised land.
The Bengals are 0-5 for the 7th time since 1990.
That's crazy. I'll give Andy Dalton credit. He's got 1,412 passing yards, but he is not, like, legitimately, like, giving them the wins. Like, there's no fire in that offense. I mean, Joe Mixon, how many rushing yards did you just say Cook had? 500. And you said Christian McCaffrey had, I think 700, 600.
No.
I'm not talking about like total receipt. I'm talking about like rush yards. Like Cook had 542. All right, Joe Mixon has 242. Your best wide receiver has you only 406 receiving yards.
Yeah.
Like there is no offense. Like just scratch the plate. Trade Andy Dalton, bench him, whatever you gotta do. He's not getting it done. Put some new offensive linemen in there because they're clearly not getting the job done. Like just do it already. Like. John Ross is injured again. I mean, he's been injured his whole career. He starts off hot. He's injured again. Like, I just don't know what they're waiting for. You trade AJ Green. I mean, he's not even going to want to play there. He's a free agent after this year either. So why wait?
Well, the thing is, by the time he comes back, I mean,
just think. You're not going to pay him this year, right? Your team's rebuilding, so you might as well trade him for a first-round pick.
Well, like I said earlier to you before we came on, New England. They're talking. New England is right now. They're on the hunt They're on the hunt for looking for pieces. And they're talking about picking up A.J. Green and Tyler Eifert because didn't they release Watson today?
Yeah, that which he came off a 4-game suspension,
So
and the day he comes back, they released him.
They're saying New England's all in. They're looking for a receiver, and they're looking for a tight end.
And if you're the Bengals, you do it.
They're looking at
do
Diggs, second-round pick for Diggs, and they're talking about picking up A.J. Green and Tyler Eifert in a package deal.
The Saints are in that rumors to get A.J. Green, too.
Yeah.
The thing is with A.J. Green, though, is he's a 1-year rental.
They're saying that this year is going to be a big year for free agents. Or not free agents, for the trade deadline. They're saying that there's
And
so
look-
many teams that are
Yeah.
basically garbage. That Denver's one of them. I mean, they got their first win, but they're saying Denver is looking to get rid of Emmanuel Sanders, Harris,
And Von Miller. I mean, look at this. So there's 4 teams that are 0-4, and then there's 2 teams that only have 1 win. So you're looking at about 6 teams that literally suck right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you $5 you'll see Julio Jones. I want to trade.
Yeah.
You're going to start to see people they want out, and Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon could be a good running back for a different team. I truly do. I think that their team is just trash.
He is a good back. I mean, he really is a good
I mean,
back.
let's be real. You're not going to run the ball when you're down by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Joe Mixon is the kind of back that I hope Tony Pollard turns into behind Zeke. You know, that guy that comes in like an Alvin Kamara that they throw the ball to him and he runs wild with it. And
I think Joe Mixon's a good runner too. It's just they don't give him the opportunities.
Yeah. And not to go back to the Saints game, but that's another problem that I have with the whole Cowboys. It's like they reverted back to last year's play calling. It's like, well, we beat the Saints this way last year, so let's go away from what we were doing and try to run the ball every on first down and
what's funny is
and
they
averaged
stopped-
1.9 yards and
They
he didn't
stopped
do
Zeke
crap.
both
Yeah.
2 years. So I'm shocked they went in there with the running game plan.
But that's what I mean. It's like Jason Garrett had his hands in there and said, this is what we're going to do because it worked last year, but it didn't work. It didn't work at all. I mean, it was absolute garbage. And I hate to go back to that, but, man, it's frustrating being a Cowboys fan sometimes.
Yeah.
Now we got to talk about...
You can talk about the Oakland Raiders being 3-2.
yeah, we got to talk about Kirsch's Josh Jacobs, who he's all hyped about.
Dude, I mean, Derek Carr looks pretty good. 1,117 passing yards, 6 touchdowns. You know, you do have Josh Jacobs, who is leading the league right now for rookie of the year.
123 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, and he says they're up for the challenge for everything.
They're playing well against good teams.
You know what's impressive, though, is that was a long flight from L.A. to England for the Raiders.
Yeah.
And they went in there and they played great.
That was weird that game started so late.
Yeah, and you know what? Gruden gave them the whole week off. They have a bye week coming up. He gave them the whole week off. He said, "You guys get the week off, so they deserve it."
They're playing well.
3-2, man, second place.
You
in
know
the
what's?
division.
You know what's? You gotta give the hat to them. You know, you think about how much drama there was this whole offseason.
Yeah.
You know, you had Antonio Brown. Your team was like, okay, we're gonna do this. We got a top 5 wide receiver. He's gonna help us win. And then everything happens with him. All the cameras are on you for Hard Knocks. And now everyone's saying you're just going to suck. And they are literally putting it to the test. Like, they are winning games. You know, they beat Indianapolis in Indianapolis. They just got done beating the Bears, who have one of the best defenses in the leagues.
Yeah, and the thing that we got to talk about, and it's the last game of the weekend. Good old Vic Fangino. Fangino finally got his first win as the Denver Broncos beat the Chargers, in which I'm so
shocked.
surprised what's going on with the Chargers, man. I don't get it. That
Keenan
team
Allen wasn't even there, man.
They were one of the favorites to go and go to the Super Bowl this year, and what the heck is going on with the Chargers? I don't get it.
I honestly, I didn't get to watch the game, but then I saw the update, like, Broncos beat the Chargers. I was like, are you kidding me?
Dude, Denver's defense finally showed up, and Phillip Lindsay had a hell of a game.
I'm going to start playing him, man. He's been riding my bench. It looks like Tyrod Taylor played a little bit.
But it's pretty bad when your best receiver is Austin Eckler with 15 receptions for 86 yards.
He's playing more than Melvin Gordon.
In the PPR, though, that's huge, man. That's huge.
He's playing more than Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon didn't do anything. 12 rushes for 31 yards, 4 receptions for 7 yards. He didn't do anything. He's coming back, and I don't know. I would just keep playing Eckler. He's having a great year. That team's in shambles, and everyone projected them to be the best team in that division.
I think out of all the old quarterbacks that are still playing, I think Phillip Rivers is going to be the one that retires before all of them.
Yeah, and he threw the ball 48 times with 211 yards and 2 picks.
I don't even know. Like, the Chargers, like, it's just a team that it's either up or down. You think they have the defensive pieces and they have the offensive pieces. But yeah, they're not. I mean, and you would think with Phillip Rivers behind the center that they would be winning games, especially against a Bronco team that didn't even have a win going into that game.
Yeah. We got to get into, football is football. Football is a sport
Stressful.
it drives me nuts.
Can you believe we're going into week 6 already?
Yeah. Michigan won. They won a big game on a Saturday. The offense is still flat, but we got to talk playoff baseball. I am so excited for our New York Yankees. I really am.
They look good.
The bats are alive. Everyone projected them to struggle with the Twins, and they're
dominating.
taking it to
and
the
again,
Twins.
my vote, DJ LeMahieu, MVP.
And you know what's funny is Aaron, you gotta give Aaron Boone credit. You really do. Paxton, he took him out with only 60-some pitches.
Paxton looked good too,
Tanaka
man.
was pitching a gem. He's saving these guys and keeping them fresh. And it's hope Severino comes through tonight, man. Because
And you think if Severino comes
the
through
Yankees
tonight,
can wrap it up tonight.
if you think about Severino comes through tonight, we look just as good as Houston.
And Houston just got their butts kicked today, 10-3. 10-3.
And the Rays.
And Verlander said he's coming back to pitch Game 4 on short rest.
I'm not gonna lie. The Twins have better. The Twins were one of the best teams in baseball for batting this year, but Houston still scares me. You think about that
It's their
pitching
pitching.
lineup, but you think about that hitting team too. It's not even really the hitting; it's the pitching. The pitching scares me.
But we played them well this year. We really did. I think Verlander is the only one, and I don't think Verlander beat us. I think the bullpen blew it for them. But Verlander is the only one I'm really afraid of. We can beat Greinke.
Greinke got lit up today.
Greinke is horrible at Yankee Stadium.
We could beat Garrett Cole.
So if they play, if we go to Houston and they play Verlander Game 1 and Cole Game 2, we're getting Greinke in New York Stadium, and his ERA in the Yankee Stadium is horrible.
bad. You know who I gotta give it to? I gotta give it to Brett Gardner. You know how many
Oh,
times
he's a stud.
every year I feel like I'm like his lawyer. Every year it's like they want to get rid of this guy, because we have all this young talent. It's time for them to play, and every year you think about this season.
He's the only one that stayed healthy.
Brett Gardner wasn't supposed to start this year.
No.
He was supposed to be bench role. He was the only one to stay healthy. He batted, I think, .250. He had a career high in home runs. This guy is a stud. He puts it all on the line out there every single game. And I love him. I love him as a lefty. I love him for the Yankees. I'd keep signing this guy to a 1-year deal.
Oh, and Greinke's the one that got lit up today. He's got a 14.73 ERA in the playoffs.
Yeah. What sucks too is they didn't even put CeCe on the roster.
Whatchamacallit can't. Oh, he's not on this round's roster, but I'm sure he'll be on it for the next one. But St. Louis came back and beat the Braves in 10 today, 10 innings.
I'm rooting for the Braves. I want the Nationals to beat the Dodgers too, because I don't want the Dodgers to win.
That's who I'm looking for, and I tell you what, man.
They're behind 2-1.
Scherzer's pitching today, and that guy, man, he's crazy.
I would pitch Scherzer and Strasburg.
Scherzer pitched a wild card game. He came in relief in the 8th inning in the Game 1, and then he's pitching now.
You got to ride these guys, man. It's like Bumgarner, how they rode Bumgarner and they won the World Series. If they want to go, you let them pitch.
Yeah, they need to win tonight.
They have to.
They have to win tonight. There's a best of 5. They're losing 1-0 now. They have a man on first base though, and no outs, and Scherzer's at the plate. So hopefully he'll hit a home run here.
Scherzer's at the plate.
Well, we're gonna end this. We gotta get ready for Yankee baseball time, but I'm excited. This is a great time of the year. We have college football. We have football. We have baseball playoffs. We have hockey just starting. The Flyers win their first game. I'm excited. The Sixers have a preseason game tomorrow.
We took like a little season break there. We took like a good week and a half off, 2 weeks off, but we needed some time off.
Needed to recharge the batteries.
We were going through things, but now we're good. We're gonna try and at least get 2 a week. Try and get some more guests on.
But it gets frustrating sometimes, and you don't want to talk about some sports because you got to talk about certain things, and it's aggravating.
Yeah, but we hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Again, you can follow us on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes.
Stink.
Yeah, they do. But we'll get this podcast up tomorrow for you guys, and we hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next time.